Hey y'all, what's happening? It's your brother in the footwork and your footwork news boy, DJ Cornerstone, and you're watching Give Us the Works on the Footwork Out YouTube channel, where I interview various dancers, DJs, and producers. So y'all pay attention as our guest today gives us the works. Ladies and gentlemen, it is your brother in the footwork, your footwork news boy, DJ Cornerstone, and I have the pleasure to be interviewing today our brother all the way from Germany, the up and coming, one of the hardest working footworkers, man, one of the hardest working ones, brother Petar, y'all, give it up. Oh shoot, man. I'll tell you what, man, you crack me up every time I talk to you, man. Always put a smile to my face. I just want to thank you so much, brother Petar, for taking the time out for this interview, man. And my apologies to you. I looked back at my calendar and it said 11 o'clock. And I read it earlier thinking it was 10 o'clock. So I'm sorry if I had you rushing and all that, man.
Hey, no problem, man. And I can tell you something. I'm so glad to be with you. You know, I'm always enjoying talking to you, and it's a real pleasure to be here in your show. And I'm really excited. What is going to happen?
Yeah, man.
I hope you have good questions, man.
Yeah. Hey, it's about you, man. So it's got to be good.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah. So, man, we've had conversations. So some of these questions, I'm probably gonna ask you things I asked you before, but only because I want everybody to know about you. Give Us the Works is about giving us everything about you. All right. So we'll start off, man, with the general stuff. So first off, man, I said you're from Germany. What drew you to footwork? You being all the way out there in Germany, like when did you first see it and what pulled you in?
Oh, okay. I'm just thinking about whether to tell you the long version or the short version. More or less, I started to dance at the age of 50. I'm 52 years now, so starting to be interested in footworks, it's nearly the same time when I started to be interested in dancing again, you know, at the age of 50. So it's a little bit a longer story. I was dancing when I was younger, only in the discotheques, the clubs, and sometimes with my friends on the street. Then I got married, I got children, I didn't go to discotheques anymore or to clubs. And then my daughter started to dance when she was 4, first doing ballet, and then she started to go to classes doing hip hop, more or less, also dance hall and Afro dance and all that kind of new dances that were new for me. I only knew there was hip hop and house when I was younger, you know. And then I got hooked somehow. I watched her dancing in the classes. I thought, well, this is a cool thing. The communities, the very good teachers, I started to think, oh man, are you too old to start dancing? And then I decided to make a long story short, that I'm gonna give it a try. And I talked to my daughter and I said, I want to go to the same studio where you are dancing. And then she said, oh no, that's a really bad idea, Dad. So it took me 2 or 3 months to talk to her and to persuade her that I go through her to a hip hop class. Yeah. It was in 2019, I was 49, and she said yes, but I don't know you during the class, she said. So we entered the building and she was like 10 feet ahead of me and I was behind and she didn't know me. I said, it's okay, it's a game, why not? And then we entered the studio And what shall I tell you? It was at the Millennium Dance Complex in Cologne. The teacher was Diane Rahim, a very good dancer who is also interested in Chicago footwork movement, as far as I know. And after 15 minutes, I twisted my ankle. So I had to leave the class in front of everybody, in front of my daughter. And I think, I didn't look at her, but I think she was like, you know. And it was a little bit embarrassing for me. And so that was my first attempt to start dancing. And then one day before my 50th birthday, I went to a house class, because then I realized that footwork is more my thing. You know, I realized that I'm very stiff with my upper body and with my arms, and hip hop is not my thing. It's more house. And I started to go to a house class, and then the pandemic started, and I had to stop dancing. I took one class of house, I got hooked, and I had to stop dancing. So what opportunities did I have? I could only look in the net on YouTube and see what are the basics of house. And then I danced more or less at home. I studied the basics of house. I danced them by myself. And then there was this video I found from Khalif, the big Leaf from New York, the house dancer. You know him?
Not familiar with him.
Yeah, Khalif is one of the best house dancers in the world.
Yeah.
And he had on YouTube a video which was about house dance versus, or not versus, compared to Chicago footwork.
Really?
And there was this guy with the glasses from Chicago. I thought, Steve Urkel dances, you know? And it was King Charles, you know?
Yeah.
And then I realized, okay, I don't want to make fun of him because he's a really great dancer. And then I saw, really, it was very interesting because it was the basics from house, and Charles was very clever. For example, it was the happy feet from house, and then he took the earth and jerk from Chicago footwork. And all the steps from Chicago footwork seemed cooler to me and seemed better and seemed to fit me better. I mean, I was a beginner, I'm still a beginner, but at that time, anyways, house was cool, was fast, but Chicago footwork was faster. It was more energy and it was more challenging in that time. Yeah. So I started to try the earth and jerk and some heel toeing that Charles showed there, and that's when I got hooked, and that's when I got interested in Chicago footwork. So I searched the whole net concerning content of Chicago footwork, and I found a lot of bits from Charles, and the very popular bit where he danced with Boss Eddie in front of
the battleship.
The battleship, yeah, and explaining the basics, and I thought, wow, this is it. And there was one bit of Charles where he danced like a judge. It was like a judge performance in Chile somewhere. And he danced to Know No Better, which is not a Chicago footwork song. But in this wit, I saw that it's possible to hit every single beat with your feet, and that was new for me. You know, in every dance style, you move your body, you try to follow the music with waves, with everything. But Charles is so good in hitting the beat and the vocals and everything, which a song consists of, with his feet. and he's really mastering doing that. No matter what the music, what kind of music, he can do that. And this was the bit where I said, okay, I got to contact him. I'm crazy enough. That old guy contacted King Charles, who is up there for me, you know, and said, oh, do you have online classes? And because of the pandemic, he started with online classes, and he says, yeah, I have a beginner class, blah, 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 but it was in a bad time for me, for Germany.
Okay.
And then he said, okay, I have a more advanced class, you can go there. And then I said, yeah, okay, I'll join. I have to sweat a little bit more, but I'll do it. So I said, to make a long story short, so you see, I don't know, I talked for 10 minutes. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But in a nutshell, it was Charles. Seeing him on YouTube and seeing him killing it, and I said, I had to learn this.
Every time, man. Hey, that was real good. I mean, you know, King Charles is like one of the main ambassadors of footwork, and also a real down-to-earth guy, man. So it's good that he was the one that you saw, you know, to learn from. And man, and I gotta tell you too, man, I gotta give you props, brother Petar, on the real, because you were inspiring to me, and I know to others as well. Just for the fact, for one, you stopped dancing the discotheques because you started a family. You know, you did it, you know, for the love of your family. You were responsible, and then you picked it back up at like 49, man. You know, like some people would just be like, "Oh, it's a wrap. I can't do this anymore. I'm too old and stuff. I'm too tired." But it takes a lot, man, to go really above the stigma that people put on you because of your age and stuff. And then too, you go past stuff. There's a fear there too that you got to overcome because of that as well. So man, that's dope to me, and it really inspires me because I'm 42 now, right? At this age, back in the day, this is typically the age where you don't see nobody footworking no more, but it's changing now to where the footwork retirement age is getting a little bit further up there. But it also gives me hope seeing you and then your passion for it as well, because it's going to inspire other people to want to get on board, to want to learn. Because there was times where I would dance and I was trying to get people. Many times where I'd be the only one footworking just because of where I would be at the time, outside of Chicago. And man, a lot of times I would get props from people that are older, and they would say stuff like, "Man, just looking at you made me tired." And they would have interest in it, but then wouldn't want to do it because of, like we said earlier, like they say they're too old. But now, there's really no excuse, man, because we got Brother Petar, you know, a great example that you're not too old for this. So I thank you for that, man. And it's inspiring too, because I can see your progression. You're consistent with it. You're forever putting out video clips, and I want to shout out to your son, Master, my adopted nephew, man, because he's a great videographer, man. I know he does a lot of your footage. I think your daughter does as well at times, but it looks good. So shout outs to them real quick, man. And again, thank you, man. Thank you for just being an inspiration.
Oh, thank you, man. It's always hard for me to understand that I can inspire people. I mean, I started dancing because my heart wants to do it. You know what I mean? It's as simple as that. And but then at the beginning, I heard a couple of people also from the worldwide community, my family were from the light work classes or the groundwork classes of King Charles. They said that I inspired them, and I couldn't believe that. But then I thought, okay, so I don't care. I post my story. I post my progression if there is any progression, and I post also videos when I do mistakes, when I messed up. That was important for me, because one of the first things I saw, especially here in Germany, that when there's a session, people want to show their best, you know.
Yeah.
It's not for the fun all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they and I thought, hey, chill, just be yourself, dance the way you are, and if you make a mistake, it's not a problem. So I like to post also bits where I make mistakes. I don't care about that. So because it's a message, you have to follow your heart, and many problems, many people, the younger generation, my daughter, for example, they have problems with freestyling. You know, they go to the dance schools, to the classes, and they learn routines or choreos, and that's it. But what about freestyling? That's real dancing, you know? And then they have the fear, you know, and they cannot let go, and then they can show their personality. So it's very important to keep that in mind also when you're doing Chicago footwork. Man, to show your personality, and it's hard. It's not easy for me to freestyle on 160 BPM and to use all the things I've learned. But that's the way it is. That's the culture. We can talk about the culture. That's one thing I learned. The culture is to have battles, to have ciphers, to show what you got. Of course, but you show your personality, and you have to be open for it, and you should be able to accept mistakes as well if you do mistakes. Man. Especially as a beginner.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's real good. And that just in you doing that, showing when you make a mistake here or there, it's also encouraging to others that because it unfortunately with social media, it does give that false sense of perfection, right? And
yeah.
Nobody's perfect. Nobody ever will be perfect. No matter how long you're on this earth, there's always room to improve and get better. But to show that it's okay to make a mistake, and you keep pushing. You don't beat yourself down and be like, oh man, you know, I quit. You know, so that's dope, man. That's real dope. And I got to tell you another thing that I really appreciate about you is really, man, your character and the respect that you have for people, period. And especially with the Chicago footwork, man, whenever we talk, it's like you always make sure that, like, so when you get complimented, even on Instagram, people I look, folks be like, yeah, brother Petar, you get compliments, and you'll come back like, thank you, and, you know, much respect to Chicago and Chicago footwork culture and all that, and that's real cool. And I want to tell you why. That's real genuine, because unfortunately there's some people who they'll grab a hold of something in the culture. It could be in any culture, and then they'll take it and like run with it as though if they created it themselves. They'll even either gain popularity, fame, or they might gain wealth, financial wealth in doing that. And the folks who put in the work are kind of like left out and left behind. But you always ensure that people know, you know, hey, I'm just like you said earlier, I'm a beginner, I'm new to this, I love it, and that's all cool. But man, I'm gonna tell you this, man, I can speak for myself, and I'm sure for many others that you got much respect back because of your character. So again, I thank you for that, man.
No, thank you for these kind words. I don't know if you realize I turned red a little bit now, but you know, it's I really want to stay humble, and I really want to show the respect because I am a beginner, and because I am new to that culture, and because I'm a guest to that culture, and that's what I have to do. Especially when I was in Chicago this summer, I realized again, I mean, I knew it before, but then my respect grew higher because I saw how it is in Chicago, and I realized, yes, I'm a guest. I mean, I can dance for 20 years, but I'm from Germany. Okay, my origins are in Serbia, but my parents moved to Germany in the 60s, and I was born in Germany. And so I also know a lot about cultural differences and about being a guest. I also feel a guest in Germany because my origins are from Serbia. And I also feel like a guest in Serbia because I was born in Germany.
Yeah.
And for sure, I'm a guest in the Chicago footwork culture. And you know, and I had a good teacher with Charles. Because I don't know, he didn't say it directly, you're a guest. But with everything he says, for me, it means, okay, you have to respect that, you know? And you have to respect Chicago. Charles is not living in Chicago anymore, but he's always telling us, hey, we have to bring it back to Chicago, or this is where it started, this is where all the flowers have to go to. So I feel like I'm in a subculture where I'm at home, like a worldwide Chicago footwork community, but it's not the Chicago footwork, the Chicago community, and not all the generations that dance Chicago footwork in Chicago. You know what I mean? So that makes it easy for me to have the respect because it is like that.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I had really I thought about it, about the word guest, because the first time I heard it from Buddha Stretch, a famous Buddha Stretch from New York, famous hip hop dancer and dancer in general, and he said in an interview something like, everybody that comes to the hip hop culture and who is not from the States or who's white, he will always be a guest. And he's married to an Asian woman, as far as I know. And then he said, when I go to visit her in Asia, I'm also a guest, and you will always stay a guest. And I thought, no, I cannot be a guest because I love it and I feel it and I have my family there. That's my community. Yeah. But then I realized he's a kind of right. Yeah, and I have to respect that. And so I told myself, you're in a kind of subculture, like I said, the whole worldwide community, and I love that as well. And it doesn't matter if I dance. It doesn't matter if I'm a guest, if I'm not a guest. I feel the music, I dance to it, I love it, and that's it. And I really try to understand and to learn about the history. I'm still here, I'm still a beginner. Concerning dancing and concerning my knowledge about the history and about everything of Chicago. And there's a lot of things to learn about it. So I'm happy about it. I'm happy about the process. I love the process. I want to learn it, and I'm still growing. And so it's not only dancing, it's also learning about the culture. And that's also thanks to Charles. Shout out to him from my heart. That's his influence, and and he's really a good guy. I don't know if people from Chicago know that, because I can imagine if somebody leaves Chicago and is quite successful in doing Chicago footwork, that some people may think, okay, he's not our bro anymore because he's not in Chicago or something. But hey, come on, he's telling, he's, like you said, he's the best ambassador for Chicago footwork all over the world. And I listened to it. There was never something negative. He never said something negative. And he really wants to bring all the people together and to bring it back to Chicago. So, and that he's one of the main reasons I went to Chicago, to meet the people, to see the culture. And I spent 1 week there, but it was way too short to see everything, to speak to everybody. But I got a good feeling. I thought I was a little bit more progressed before I went to Chicago, and then I saw, okay, no, you're here. You're down below the carpet, you know what I mean? Still. And that's good. That's good.
Yeah. That definitely, man, that you definitely keep a humble spirit, man. And that goes a long way. And I could see that when we was at the Havoc picnic, I could see that there's people who appreciate it, like people that would watch you off to the side dance. And I saw like people come up to you, you know, dap it up with you, man. So yeah, your respect, your character, man, is just awesome, man. It's like you got a very welcoming spirit about yourself, you know, that just draws people. So you're genuine. So like people can kind of let their guard down a little bit with you.
Yeah, maybe it's because I'm old and they thought, okay, there's no danger from this guy, so we can talk to him and give him props better than him anyways. No, but I appreciated that as well. So big props to the Chicago guys that came to me and told me, hey, I saw you on Instagram and we like what you're doing, and that really nearly made me cry. You know what I mean? So this is really amazing. So people from in Chicago were very welcoming as well. So that's really cool. I loved it.
Yeah, man, right on. You definitely are welcome. And one thing I want to ask you talked about you learning history of the footwork culture, of Chicago footwork culture. So far in what you've been learning, like what would you say is the most influential thing that you've learned about the culture so far?
That's a hard question because it leaves space to so many answers. I mean, the history in short, it started with house music, then went to ghetto house, juke, Chicago footwork music, the whole music thing. And okay, now I have an answer. What impressed me most, and for me, what makes the biggest difference to other cultures is how the DJs work together with the dancers. You know, and how close the music and the dancing is in this culture. And this is an amazing thing. And this is special to me. I don't know if people agree with me concerning that point, but from my experience, I cannot say it's the same in hip hop or house. I mean, people go and have sessions together, and you have a DJ with you, and nearly, I mean, or DJs producing things, they have a dancer with them, and they asking the dancer, what do you think about this?
Yeah.
Can you dance on this? What do you think about that? And that's really a special thing. I mean, I cannot imagine a house producer doing that. Maybe I'm wrong, but for me personally, this is a very special thing. And of course, the impressing the battles, the crews in a very segregated city, and the reasons why they dance. This is amazing, and that so many people dance, you know. And I don't know if it was like the same in Europe. I don't think so. That half of your neighborhood is dancing, you know. So dancing is important in Chicago. So I love dancing, and of course I love the culture as well. And obviously it helped many people.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dancing, like it helps many people to go to the church. So dancing is a kind of religion as well, and community, which is helping the people.
Yeah, man. For those who are listening and watching, I hope y'all sucked in everything you just said, because this is good. So yeah, brother Petar, I see you over there rocking that fly Adidas outfit, man. It looks real good. Look like you ready, man. Look like you down with Rock Steady crew, man. So
I'm always ready for you, man. You know that. I'm sorry, I cannot keep up with you, man. With your style. You know that.
No, hey, I feel like, man, we there at the same level, man, and that's in all for realness. We both there, just working to get higher. So I appreciate it. So, but like, are you in any crews, any footwork crews?
No, I'm not in a footwork crew. Nobody asked me, but it's also not a goal of mine. It's not a target to be a member of a footwork crew. I can enjoy it without being in the crew. I can be. I feel like in a community without being in a crew. You know what I mean? There's a big community called Chicago footwear culture and subculture. Yeah. The rest of the world outside of Chicago. So that's really fine with me. And I'm, you know, what are my perspectives? What are the perspectives from anybody taking me in a crew? You know what I mean? Because I'm old, I don't wanna. I won't be a Chicago footwork teacher. I'm quite sure about that because of my age as well. So I don't know. I don't have to be in a crew. Are you in a crew?
So you do have a crew?
No, are you in a crew?
Oh, am I in a crew? No, I'm not in a crew.
Okay, and you're happy with it?
Yeah, I'm happy with it. At times I look and I be like, oh man, I wish I could be a part of that. Like I see the different crews, the camaraderie and the togetherness. I wish I could do it. But then at the same time, I have, for one, I got responsibilities where I can't really jump in. But at the same time, I feel like it probably wouldn't be a good thing for me to be in a crew. And the reason I say that is because it keeps me from being biased and all that, you know, especially for a couple of things. For one, that mastic back there, I thought I saw his head pop up. But for one, for the interviews, you know, I don't want anyone ever think that I'm showing special treatment to one person or another because of what group or what DJ crew they in or what footwork crew they in. But then also, man, one of my hopes is to kind of be one of those people that can, if it ever happens to where there's tension, I want to be one of the people that can be like a mediator and be like one who can help. Okay, let's work this out. And I feel like if I was in a crew, then again, it would be that potential for someone to feel like I'm taking sides or I'm showing preferential treatment because I belong to a certain group. So I kind of go back and forth with that. I would like to be in the crew, but at the same time, I do love Chicago footwork. I love the culture and I love the community. Have so for a long time. So I think it's probably best for me to just stay out of it and then be that one to kind of be a sounding board and help people talk through things and let people vent. You know, I'll listen to some folks vent and then try to give some suggestions, you know, if I can. So long story, no, I'm not in the crew, man. I'm just Thomas Williams, DJ Cornerstone. just got a love for it. So I'm just trying to help it the best way I can.
Hey, cool, that's cool. And I learned your surname now. I knew about the name Thomas, but it's Williams. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I like how you said that, Thomas Williams.
Yeah. DJ Cornerstone. And you're right about the advantages not being in the crew. I can feel you, but I have to say that I'm close to one crew, which is obvious that it's Creation Global, you know what I mean? Because it's a kind of my family, even if I'm not in the crew. I know 90% of the football culture that I know are from Creation Global. So of course I'm close with them, but I'm not a member.
Foot workout.
Hey, well, that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned a lot. Be sure to check out our guest of the day's information, individual social medias and websites. That way you can support, because it's a good thing that we all support each other, right? And yo, Give Us the Works now is every second and fourth Wednesday of the month. So stay tuned. On the fourth Wednesday of this month, we shall continue our conversation with today's guest. But until then, be sure to take care of yourself. God bless you, and footwork out.
Footwork out.